Guys, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we're here in my 2013 Mustang GT, and it feels like this car's been kind of getting neglected on the channel. I haven't been filming really anything about it, and that's because there really hasn't been anything new for the car. But I figured now's a good time to kind of just reflect on the car a little bit, especially with the upgrades I have done to it, and we'll beat it around a little bit, but you know, I figured now's a good time to kind of just talk about some of the things I've noticed with it over time. I've owned this car for a little while now, and it is my daily driver. This car became my daily driver last year after I sold one of my other cars that was a daily driver. And, you know, I just figured now's a good time to go ahead and we'll talk about it some. So something I noticed right away with the car is that the upgrades and stuff that I did, even though they're tasteful, they have changed the drivability a little bit of the car. But one of them that actually was probably a good thing that actually made the car more pleasant to drive, you know, and of course I'm just talking about with the actual upgrades I've done to the car, nothing that's like coming or nothing that I should do or whatever, is the actual shifter. Now I do have a Ford Racing short throw shifter in the car. It's the full kit. It's got the bracket under the car, and it's also got the full thing with the shift knob and all that stuff. It's the full kit. It was quite expensive for being a shifter, but you know, it actually made this car very pleasant to drive. And if I do decide to beat on it a little bit, you know, the shifts are nice and crisp. The actual engagement of the gears is very direct. You know exactly when you're in gear. They have a very planted, firm placement. The direction of the shifting and everything, your placement going into, you know, all 6 gears is very, very nice, and you almost just don't even realize what you're doing. It's just so natural. But it's made the car extremely pleasant to drive just as a daily driver. And I didn't think that would make such a difference with the car, but it actually has. So it's one of the best upgrades I've actually done to the car. And people know about all the problems with MT82s and stuff like that, especially if you have a car with a little bit higher mileage. The stock clutch will give you some issues with actually engaging at high RPMs. But of course this car, I bought it with 3,500 miles on it. It's just now getting ready to turn over 12,000. And then of course that's in, you know, within a year's amount of time. Since I've owned this car for a couple of years now, and I still haven't put a ton of miles on it. I do have a little bit of a commute to work every day, but it's nothing crazy. And so you know, it's not really a big deal on it. And of course I've only really have done one oil change in the car since I've owned it. It's actually coming up on its second one here soon. But yeah, the car as a daily driver is just very pleasant to drive, especially with this shifter. I did notice that between the stock shifter and this shifter, reverse is a lot stiffer. So you actually can't just, you know, lazily put it into reverse. You do have to give it some force downwards. The spring on it is still very tight. I figured it would loosen up over time. It hasn't so far, but getting it into reverse, you just got to make sure you do plant it down and put it in reverse. But yeah, it goes into other gears no problem. You can really ratchet, you can really power shift this thing really hard, and you know, the shifter makes it so much better. Beyond that, you guys know what I've done. It's just got some mufflers, and it's just got some suspension upgrades, and of course wheels and tires. But I haven't put a tune on this car yet. I haven't done anything else to the car. So performance-wise, it's bone stock. Not even a different airbox. It's not even a different filter. It's all bone stock. And there's a couple reasons behind that, which I'll explain here in a little bit. But it's a daily driver, and it drives great. Something else that I've noticed here, even though we're on a nice flat smooth road here, you probably notice some wobbling and stuff like that on the camera. The suspension on it, it's not that drastic, it's nothing crazy, it's just some cheap springs and some different shocks and struts. I did notice that over some time now, the rear control arms and the rear shocks are starting to squeak a little bit, especially over hard bumps. So that could just be a couple things. Could be that they need re-greased. The shocks and struts aren't like anything special. They're just the Koni STRT struts and shocks. You know, they're a cheap upgrade, especially if you didn't want to put lowering springs on a stock shock and strut kit, which is fine. You know, they were a good price, that's why I bought them. And if I ever decide to get rid of the car, I can throw it back to stock, no problem, because those things only had like 3,000 miles on them, you know, or 3,500. So I did that very, very quickly. And the car still rides great. Even if I do hit little bumps here, it still rides pretty smooth. But I did notice that if you hit any drastic bumps, it doesn't take it softly like it does with a stock suspension, which you're going to notice that with any upgraded suspension anyway. So that's just something that I noticed here, that it squeaks a little bit. We've got a little bump here. We'll see if you can hear it. Okay, well, there wasn't any squeaking there, but I've been noticing here that there's just little squeaking here and there when the car is going over any harsh bumps. We're gonna do it from a dead stop, guys. Cruising around in the 2013 Mustang GT. So a few other things to kind of just note is regards to the brake upgrade I did. It's got the GT500 style brake upgrade from the 2011 to 2012 GT500s. It's got the powder coated Brembo calipers. They look awesome, but the pads that come with them from the factory, they do actually dust a lot. And I do have these dark stainless American Muscle wheels on this car. They are a multi-spoke design, as you can tell. And the one thing that I noticed with especially with the amount of dust that these pads put out, these wheels are a pain in the butt to clean. But once they do get clean, I mean, you can tell they just look awesome, especially on the ruby red paint. It's a really awesome look. I love the way that the wheels look on the car, and the brakes do feel awesome as well. It's just maybe changing out the pads to like maybe a Hawk HPS pad or something that's a little less dusty to keep the wheels looking clean. And maybe that's something to upgrade down in the future. But if you just throw like the standard stuff into it with the Brembo brake kit onto your car, you're going to experience a lot of dust. And that's actually for both the front and the back, because it does come with matching pads for the rear brakes as well, and they get extremely dusty. Beyond that, the car runs great and everything, as you can tell. I did only have 87 octane in the car, which is another nice thing about having a stock car with your stock Coyote. If you put 87 octane in it, it's going to run just fine. Of course, around here, 87 octane is a lot cheaper than premium gas, and premium gas does get eaten up a ton in this car. So I do get better gas mileage on 87 octane, and this car is not really built for performance right now, so I don't see any reason why to throw 93 octane in it at this moment. So let's go chill in the garage here. We'll talk more about this car. We'll kind of have a discussion on what's going on with the future plans of this car, because I'm not done with this car. I'm not just going to keep it as is as of right now. So let's pull out a chair and let's have a little discussion. Let's talk about the future plans for my 2013 Mustang. You guys have watched my original video when I first purchased this car. I talked about what the purpose was for having the car, and go ahead and rewatch that video if you want to see that, because I'm sticking with that theme going forward in the future. So I'm gearing up towards the end of next year for a major purchase and major upgrades coming to this car. So that's why content has been kind of slow, because again, it is a daily driver, and I haven't done anything new to it since I've done the last upgrade to it, and there's really not much to cover on the 2013. So that's kind of why it's kind of just been in the background and kind of getting neglected on the channel. But I still drive it daily. I still love the car. I have no intention of selling it or anything along those lines to get something newer. Another thing is that I'm seeing less and less of the 1314 body style out in the street. I'm seeing a lot more S550s out there. So it's becoming more of a unique car just because it's an older car. Of course, the S550s are awesome cars. People love driving those. This one here just got a special place in my heart. I love the look of it, and I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to continue with this car, and again, we're looking at the end of next year for some major upgrades coming to the car. And I don't have any financial support. I don't have any sponsorships on the car, so that's why it's going to take a little longer to save up the money for it. I do have a major life event that's happening next year, so that's also going to be pushing the project back a little bit. But I'm looking at the end of next year, probably October-ish, where I start purchasing. I do have a wish list built of the stuff I am going to be purchasing. I've come to the decision on what I want to get. And I'm not going to relay that to you guys now because, again, plans could change. But when it's time to purchase those parts, I'll make sure to film that for you guys. And, of course, anything I do buy for the car, I'm going to cover it in an installation series, review, all that stuff. I'm going to make sure I cover it for the channel. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, just going over again on the 2013 Mustang GT here. And we got a lot of stuff coming for the future. It's just a little bit stretched out, a little bit in the future. But it is coming, guys, so definitely stick with me here and stay tuned to the channel for a lot of more exciting stuff to come. We still have a lot more stuff to do with the Fox Body Mustang, and you know, we're going to enjoy the summer and have a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.